Today I'm going to explain with illustrative examples why normies are the way they are and why they always support the state on every issue. First of all, imagine their start to life is lies that massage their ego. They're told by a full spectrum dominant media machine that they are part of a cultured group, an educated class. They're told that despite their possible even special needs, they are suitable to go to university, with all the connotations that has. Again, the ego is massaged. The propaganda machine tells them that if they support such and such a political issue, not only are they educated, they're also moral people. And you see how it racks up. Then they're told, well, you know, if you go to lots of different countries, that makes you a cultured person as well. All you got to do is jump on EasyJet, come back, tell people how cultured you are. So now we're combining people that in their mind see themselves as highly cultured, well educated, and morally decent people. Now the trouble with that is it's all a lie. Jumping on EasyJet and ticking off a load of boxes and telling people how many countries you've visited does not equate to the acquisition of culture. Going to a university that has no barrier to entry and no failure rate does not equate to an education. And believing a propaganda machine that tells you that you're morally right for supporting quite diabolical policies such as what they do and what they teach our children in our schools, such as the endless wars whereby they believe the same endless set of lies and propaganda that gets regurgitated and forgotten from one generation to the next down the memory hole. So the circumstance in which these normies find themselves is that their entire persona, their entire self-identity, who they are, is based on lie upon lie upon lie. Indeed, they are the very opposite of who they have been told they are. This makes for a very insecure person. It also makes for a very powerful weapon that the government can use on the remaining citizens. When we notice that these normies take the side of the state on every issue, that is the reason. Because without the propaganda machine of the state to prop up and reinforce the entire set of lies that has been their life and their self-identity, if that propaganda machine would go away. They don't have any kind of independent intellect or education or cultural frame of reference by which they can ever defend themselves. They couldn't defend the truth, even a simple truth, much less defend the lies that have been the prop of their lives. That means that whenever a new event happens, they have no choice but to go with the government and its propaganda machine, because nothing else will protect it. They can't protect themselves. That's why the consistency and the recognition of the pattern, that is the unwavering support on the part of the normie to the government, is so consistent. Some examples: the protests across Europe. We've got protests in Serbia, Romania and Hungary. Two are pro-EU and one more anti-EU. The normies, as ever, at the behest and on behalf of the state, take the side of the EU, not because they are intellectually engaged in the issue, but because that's the side the state wants them to take. Conversely, in the case of Romania, the state does not want them to be on the side of Călin Georgescu. So, the normies are against Călin Georgescu. This pattern is unwavering. It will never change because it can never change. Second example, the example of Conor McGregor and his visit to Washington and the division that that has caused, the outcry, the faux compassion that is the hallmark of the government normie, hyperventilating at the violation and assault of one individual, juxtaposed with complete silence when it comes to mass assault and as a result of open border immigration, complete silence when it comes to the assault of many girls, thousands, in the north of England. And that juxtaposition of faux outrage and faux compassion, when it's favourable to the state, and complete, almost psychopathic silence when they're required to be quiet by the state. This is getting to the point where we need to be aware that this is not a variable that will change. These people have no choice but to take the side of the government. They know nothing else. They can't think for themselves. The final example is the Ukrainians that are claiming again, as they always do, and it's always a simplistic pattern. It's always faux compassion, faux outrage, moral superiority, I'm a moral person, unfalsifiable claims, versus you believe propaganda. Okay, the same formula and the same consistent pattern of supporting the government. The Ukrainians, and in their faux outrage about a war by Putin into Ukraine have nothing to say about any of the Western wars. They have nothing to say if they even know about any of the Western wars. You see, one of their greatest weapons is not knowing anything about anything. If you don't know anything about anything, it's very difficult to be persuaded of anything because you have no frame of reference. Hence their passivity to the state. These types are a special kind of moral degenerate. These people say absolutely nothing about the genocide that's happening in Syria, that was caused by their government that they're supporting in their current war against Russia. These people have absolutely no moral sense whatsoever. Their way of getting through life is to claim compassion, claim morality, use the government propaganda machine to tell everyone that they are the educated class. They are the cultured class. Nobody in the intelligence services that came up with this horrible psychological operation believes that these people are even remotely educated or remotely cultured. They are simply being used because they are high in narcissism, insecure, and the perfect weapon for the government. This is not going away. We don't know what the next lie is going to be. All we know is that the normie will believe it. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.